All right, so when Riley Leonard departed South Bend for the NFL and Steve Angeli transferred to Syracuse, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion by the media and even the Notre Dame fan base that CJ Carr would be the guy for the Irish this fall. However, there's been some interesting developments out of Notre Dame's fall camp, and it seems as if there's not only a quarterback battle between CJ Carr and Kenny Minchey, but this competition is fierce. This thing is tight. And it may come down to the wire. There may not be a decision made when it comes to Notre Dame's starting quarterback until a few days before the Miami game. That's how tight this thing is right now. However, I want to preface that this competition is no referendum against CJ Carr. It's more of a testament to Kenny Minchey's abilities stepping up and legitimately challenging CJ Carr for this job that everybody assumed was going to be his. And it's also a decision that's going to be primarily philosophical, meaning what does Notre Dame want its offense to look like this year? And what guy is going to match that style better? Let me explain here. So, it is worth noting that CJ Carr has had struggles in fall camp. Interceptions have been an issue. However, part of that has to do with his style as a quarterback. He's one of those guys that has a big arm. And when you have a big arm, you're going to take risks. And when you take risks, you're going to get intercepted. There's a philosophy in football when it comes to the quarterback position. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. CJ Carr, he's one of those guys. He's a risk taker. He can make those big-time throws, but they can result in big-time interceptions as well. It's also worth bringing into context that Notre Dame's secondary is fantastic. It's elite. So it's a testament to Notre Dame's secondary, too, that they've picked CJ Carr off a lot in fall camp. It's a very good secondary he's going up against. And CJ Carr is still a young guy, so he's learning this offense. And when you're playing on Notre Dame's first team, you're playing that first team secondary, and it's damn good. So picks, especially when you're a guy who likes to take risks, it's going to happen against a secondary like that. The thing is, though, here, as a result of those picks that CJ Carr threw early in fall camp, Kenny Minchey started to get more and more first-team reps, and Minchey excelled in those reps. And so clearly that turned heads on Notre Dame staff, and it turned the heads of Notre Dame players, and that's what resulted in this quarterback competition really heating up a lot more than expected. And so, like I prefaced a minute ago, a lot of this decision is going to be hinged on philosophy and what Notre Dame staff wants this offense to look like. Because stylistically, CJ Carr and Kenny Minchey are two totally different quarterbacks. Let me explain. CJ Carr, like I was breaking down, he's one of those guys that he has a big arm, but he's not necessarily a dual threat quarterback. He's primarily a pocket passer, but he can deliver those big time throws in big moments. And there's just different things that you can do with play calling. When you have a quarterback with a big arm, you can be more creative. You can run plays that you wouldn't be able to with guys that have more moderate strength or guys that have strengths in different areas. When you have that big arm, you can open up that playbook in ways that you wouldn't be able to if you didn't. And so, if you're Notre Dame and you want to have that pro-style offense this year where you're airing it out a lot, you're taking risks, you want to have over 300 yards passing every game to complement the efforts of Jeremiah Love, then CJ Carr is going to be your guy. And if he continues to prove it in fall camp, that's who Notre Dame's going to rock with. Kenny Minchey is the complete opposite. He has a good arm. It's not elite. He has a really good arm, but he's a dual threat quarterback. And like I mentioned a minute ago, Jeremiah Love, if you want to have an offense that has an emphasis on speed, then pairing Kenny Minchey with Jeremiah Love is going to be dangerous. And there's also familiarity with Kenny Minchey's style. And Riley Leonard's style last year because he was that dual threat type quarterback as well. So there's some familiarity there, which could lead in comfortability for Notre Dame staff when it comes to evaluating Kenny Minchey. It's also worth noting that Notre Dame's offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, he's worked with dual threat quarterbacks a lot in the past, and he's been wildly successful at developing them. Look what he did with Riley Leonard last year. Look what he did with Jaden Daniels at LSU. Look what he did with Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati. He is great with quarterbacks who have the same prototype as Kenny Minchey. So you've got a lot of Notre Dame staffers really vouching for Kenny Minchey, and then there's others really vouching for C.J. Stroud. It's at the end of the day, yes, you want to pick the better guy. And Marcus Freeman wants to have a guy decided on well in advance to this Miami game. He's made that clear. But if it comes down to it, he has no problem waiting until a few days before the Miami game to make a decision. He wants to make the right decision. But it's going to come down to philosophy here. If you're Notre Dame, what do you want this offense to look like, in essence? And are you willing to take a risk with C.J. Carr and running an offense that's been different from what we've seen out of Notre Dame these past years? Or do you want to run something that you're comfortable with Kenny Minchey? And at the end of the day, who's the better guy? Who has earned the position? It's going to be interesting to see who Notre Dame rolls with down the stretch here as this Miami game looms. And it's huge. I mean, Miami's a historic rival. And it's also interesting to note that they're going into a game with Miami. It's not a cupcake week one. You don't have an FCS opponent. You don't have a G5 opponent. You've got a legit top 25 opponent in Miami. And so whoever the starter is, he's going to be thrown right into the flames, thrown to the wolves, and he's going to have to adapt and perform on the fly. One thing I want to make clear here. This isn't one of those quarterback battles where Notre Dame's looking at this thing and saying, shit, I don't know if we have a guy this year. No. This is a quarterback competition where Notre Dame's looking at this and saying, man, we have two guys that have shown us a lot, and we could succeed with either guy. Who is going to fit with us more stylistically? Who's the right quarterback to start at this time? So, with all of that context given, I want to know from y'all, who do you think will win this Notre Dame starting job? Will it be C.J. Carr, or will it be Kenny Minchey? And Notre Dame fans, who do you prefer? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Have a great day.